Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're celebrating a Massacre Monday here with Weather Makers, named after our good friend Vader Makar. So basically the idea here is to get a bunch of procs of weather, string those together for damage value to remove points from your opponent, but to feed into a massive dagger. And we're going to clean up with Hemdahl and Wild Boar. Shoop is here for a couple of reasons. Number one, this random row effects on all rows for 3 turns is actually really beneficial to Skellige because we can just dish out a bunch of damage, play some bombs, get out Madoc, play him. Just remember that he is going to reset whatever the weather is on that row with Cataclysm. So you just want, if you can like feed into another Cataclysm to lengthen the duration, all the better. But you don't want to reset something like Skellige Storm, which is probably the best of all the weather options in my opinion. But because Skellige Storm is so awesome, we want to try to line that up both with Nivellen, and then we're going to use a Vader Makar to extend the Skellige Storm and hopefully get Madoc out onto the other row, spawn that Cataclysm on that same turn you're playing Vader Makar, and get an extension of that as well. Anyway, it is not for the faint of heart. It's a shoop list too, so you know, if you felt like it was not complicated enough, there's that. There's no real true great draw consistency. Typically Wild Boar is a loss if you don't draw it, but because we have so much other row cleaning nasty business, it's not really super necessary. Dagger is probably the biggest win condition on the draw, so you know, if you wanted to add anything, you could sub out Shoop for Oniro. That allow you to double up on some of the other cards like the good bombs, and also on like Berserker and Greatsword, which would give you a little bit more value, but that would be boring, and we're not about boring. I'll tell you this much. If you play this deck, your opponent will not see it coming. Alright, Ursine Ritual is actually really good for us. It's going to have a lot of damage units that the opponent relies on. It also has a lot of row-locked units with Ceres. So a lot of stuff goes to melee. Save on crate laters for later. And here you really want to spend your mulligans to get both Dagger. You want to keep Madoc in deck because you want him tutored out. But I'd say you want either Hemdahl or Wild Boar, and you really want Covenant of Steel if you can get it as well. We're going to put On-Crate Marauder away. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. We're just going to start with Bear Witcher Adept. Just a really great blue coin play. If he gets erased, you know, it's not the end of the world. He maxes out at 7 points of value, so not a big deal. Not that it ever really matters that much, but Gutting Slash can deal damage to your own units, so just something to keep in mind. We don't have any beasts, so Brokefar Hunter doesn't always make the most sense. It's possible that these Ursine Ritual decks play Defender, but they usually don't. But Moondust is in here for Defender, typically, so we're just going to play that out. It gets out our Madoc. You never want to boost Madoc. There's always a greater than 0% chance that this is a bad play by the opponent, but that whenever you boost him, he just plays for 3 points of value out of the Cataclysm itself, so he'll destroy himself and you lose all boosted values, so don't ever boost him. It looks like the opponent bricked into a Shield Maiden, which makes this even weirder. Alright, well, we're definitely going to spawn this, I think. Well, actually, So he doesn't count when he does destroy self as damage, but I do just like getting the Haymaker Protector out. But I've decided to start intentionally showing some of that weird stuff that people wouldn't really think of. But that's a good example there of something that you might think procs value, but just really doesn't. Now, Ravager does get a Bloodthirst of 2, so we're just going to play him out. And we're going to put one of these Shield Maidens in, because why not? Yo, Firearms. Thanks for posting the free link. Nightbot swatted that one down. Anyway. We are going to get out Drone Berserker here and then use the tactical advantage on him next to the Haymaker Protector. That way we just get a lot of passive value that way. I love the new stuff that they show like that. Pretty cool. But here now we just preserve the value by pushing this all onto Haymaker Protector. Works out pretty well for us. Gutting Slash has a Bloodthirst of 2 to get 6 damage. So we'll take out the Snowdrop. That's actually kind of perfect. She has decent engine value, so. Now she puts them back. She doesn't discard them, so they don't get any synergy with like Morkvarg or those other similar units. Now we're not up by a ton of points here by any means, so I really don't want to get stuck into this for too long. Trying to just kind of force the pass from the opponent. Now, I'd like to play Greatsword one round and Dagger the other round, but we just need as much value as we can get round 3. So I really don't want to have to play him here, although Heatwave is typically the biggest worry here. And we probably see Heatwave come in later. I doubt the opponent's going to want to spend it right away, but we do have Sigurdrifa's right in hand. So typically I would want to play like Covenant of Steel and then play Dagger. But he works here, and I don't mind spending one of these Weathers now, and we can extend it next turn using Vadermacher. But you really have to keep the pressure on these Lippy decks. You can't just you certainly can't lose card advantage, and you can't just let rounds slip away. It's just a death knell. So here I actually, and against Ursine Ritual, I don't mind spending both my leaders, even though I'd prefer to keep them. I don't really mind spending them here if I need to, just because I can get so much value out of the Vadermaker. 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 I don't know. Call him whatever you want. Anybody who tells me what the correct pronunciation is in the comments gets a free bonus cookie. I don't know. Something like that. Alright, I do want Samum. It does force this row movement, which is helpful for me, but it also procs Madoc again, so I can use my friend Vadermaker here. Nivellen is probably the only one I don't really care about so much in this matchup. Here I'm just looking to get my Hemdall. I don't get him. Now this deck usually only runs so much removal, so we're actually just going to probably go for Dagger this round. And then pray for, so my favorite Shoop is actually Shoop Resilience on Knight. You get 8 points of carryover. It's quite nice. Now we're just trying to kind of separate these out a little bit. There's no way he can deal with this all at once, so we're just going to get out Dagger. He can use Heat Wave only once, so in a turn at least. I think he's going to try to get lucky with Blue Boy. I think he forgot here, though, that this is not a good matchup for Blue Boy because Dagger gets value every time Blue Boy gets damaged. But not everybody can be a genius. Alright, now we're going to proc this. Only downside here is that if Madoc had come to range, we would have had some problems. Like to be able to hold my card if I can. And we can proc the Madoc at the end. So remember, if I was to pull this next turn, it would reset the rain. Cataclysm is better than rain, but it's not something I really want to do. Now I'm going to pull Shoop here just because resilience is great, but if I miss resilience, I'll probably get the damage. And if I can clear off one of these fanatics, all the better. You go Shoop, and you want to check boost random unit in your hand by 2. Not that great. Not that great. And Lock is really not helpful at all here. So we'll just take the allied boost and put it onto the Harpy. That way, if the Covenant of Steel does draw that Heat Wave, he still gets value out of that. And the weather procs at the beginning of my opponent's turns, so I can wait to pull this Madoc until the very last turn and then play Vader Makar, and he's going to proc that value twice. So Vader Makar basically here plays for 5 plus the 3 points of value out of the extended Cataclysm onto 1 row, and then the 3 points of value that goes onto Dagger. So here Vader Makar actually gets us good value. He's a 7 provision unit and plays for, if you do the math there, 5 plus 3 plus 3 is 11. So I don't mind him at all. Quartermaster's a little awkward here in my opinion. Like, what are you going to go after? You could do 1 damage each to the Fanatics, I guess. Just a little strange. Let's actually go ahead and do this.
Board up the windows, bar the doors, stow the animals inside.
And I like all these units that proc multiple instances of damage. They synergize with On-Crate Greatsword and Marauder really well. The Lippy is a little awkward here. The Kuswatch Quartermaster. The smart play here would be to ping these each once, and then you can do the damage and they'll convert. But we're just going to put on the pressure as much as possible. Okay, so he can't do it how he wanted to before. Our Dagger gives us a 20-point lead. So this is working out pretty well for us. He gets a free one here. And then Heron Kaduk does get the free healing value. So yeah, there we go. So he did exactly what I anticipated he'd do. Gets the conversion, gets the heal, and it's now an 11-point match. He has 2 cards. So I think we'll see him catch up pretty quickly if he can get the right draws. So this is why we boosted the Harpy. So that only plays for 5 points. And now he's got to make a 6-point play with the final play. And we get the W. So like I said, I know it feels a little awkward and it's a little bit scary, but you really, if you're going to win against Lippy, it's going to be because they have an awkward draw. And you just step on the gas. Do not let go. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Storm. So anyway, so make sure you're doing all these things. I get my wins with the Necromancer. I get all the games played with Alzer. Make sure you're getting all these. And then if you do the premium, you get to make these extra progressions. All that's great. But you also want to make progress using the box or the ancient cube and the beetle coin. And then make sure you're tracking your other quests. Because I'm really excited personally to go play in the Knight's Armor, but I need 5 more wins at the Necromancer's outfit, and then even more games played with the Avatar just to finish everything out. And because I am a bit of a perfectionist and a completionist, those are important to me. But just make sure, if you care about this stuff, again, PSA, just get in there, make that happen. But yeah, we 2-0'd a Lippy deck. Too bad Slav's not on here. And if I'm being honest, I gotta say this because I do like my chapter markers and people usually click through. I did not expect to win that. Like, we do get the favorable matchup in that Lippy doesn't have any heals, right? Other than Haran Kaduk. Okay, so Madoc. He is what this deck revolves around, and you got to keep him in your deck. That's really like the only thing that matters here. Draw until you get Dagger. Draw until you get some of these other cards that give you favorable value. I love drawing Berserkers on blue coin, as you saw last time. Here I'm looking for Great Sword, Covenant of Steel, Hemdall, or Wild Boar. Ravager is nice and helpful, but a little bit clunky. Nivelin's not bad here. Gutting Slash is probably not going to be all that useful. We're just going to get set up with Bear Witcher Adept. So if you don't have Bear Witcher Adept, I don't mind just setting up Broke 400, but they do have Zeal, so you can get that 5th point of value instantly. Dropping him down, he always plays for 5 points at a minimum if you can proc that damage value. I don't mind that at all. Okay. Now, typically, if I have the option, I'd go Samum second, just to like move stuff around to where I want it. But here works fine. And now we'll probably see them play around the melee row. The first day Madoc was released, I kept getting Regis banishes against him. It's like, stop playing Regis Bloodlust. It doesn't make sense most of the time. It's a 4 for 10 that removes 4. So at best it plays for 8 points. I don't know the banish is worth 2 provisions, especially in a 10 provision cost card. So yeah, here we get no value, but we can be patient here and just wait and play the Nivelin. It just kind of is up to you how you like to play. We can be patient here. I have seen a lot more of the old school Overwhelming Hunger. If you've watched my channel for a long time, you know I call the deck the best! Because it's the best! No, but seriously, old school Overwhelming Hunger is broken. But this looks to be like a V deck. Clear and simple. Not a whole lot we can do about it if we're being honest here. Except that we can kind of dink around with these guys. So they have to be neighboring, so you do need to press the middle one. You can't just like choose any 3 that you want, like aired. Okay, so the other thing I do need to say here is like Red Haze is pretty clutch for V decks. You just need to get those 2 really high powered units next to each other. But we're just going to see V get tutored out 18 times here. Not a whole lot we can do about it. I could play Shoot for the Locks. I don't have Sigurdriffas, but fortune favors the bold. One good thing about V decks is they typically don't have much in the way of removal. They're just kind of like, I'm better than yours. Mine are better than yours. And then you can kind of just like, if you have Shoop in hand, you can actually kind of just keep playing until he's final card. This is going to be Hemdall, which is not great, but it's also not the worst. You know, he's 8 points. It does suck a little bit on loss value here, but let's see if we can get out Vader Maker here. Alright. Not the best, but not the worst. As Northern Realms Witchers. If you're playing Northern Realms Witchers, are you playing Yurden and Igni? She can certainly fit them in. I'd highly recommend it in the current. Now, a little bit of this is a question of how much. For some reason, I thought he had already consumed one, but a question of how many tutors he has.
I must think of my folk.
I must think of my folk. How terrible is that? That's why you don't want to play Haunt with a villain deck. By the way. So typically I kind of like keep playing here to put on the pressure, but we're up by 10 and we kind of like force him. You know what? Live dangerously, my friends. You can play the Rain next turn and still get maximum value. Okay, Mata gets him the V, and it gets me some trash 4 provision card. Might be a bomb. No such dice. It is incredibly difficult to get Bloodthirst against monsters, so against a V deck. So there's 2 random units. It's not 2 random procs like Cataclysm is. So that's unfortunate. We do get the Drone Berserker conversion here. So, not great. It's only like a 16-point lead. We convert to 20 points. But I'm pretty sure we're looking at like a 15-point V. So pretty quick and easy for the opponent to get that back again. So this is just a kind of a bit of a game of like, do you have it? Can you make good on that threat? Might have a chance here at like getting the Slizzard. Proc this Rain. Let's go for Shoop now. Really want the resilience, and we get it. So that's why we gotta play a little bit more recklessly than we normally would. We don't get quite enough damage value here out of the dagger. If I didn't get the resilience, I would have gone for the damage. And we would have beaten out the opponent. So he does have to play V in order to beat the Shoop, but he's out Haunt. So there's part of me that's like, should we go all in? But the other part of me is like, no, don't do it. It's a complicated life I lead. If I'm being honest, Vader Maker doesn't make much sense anymore. This is excellent trio. But Shoop Knight, the big boy that he is, just looks impotent against a giant V deck. One play of V is just enough to overturn us here. So we're going to force out one of the tutors. It's kind of the best we can do at this point. Or just V himself. I guess you can get really lucky with draws there. But even more glad now that we saw that play that we didn't try to pressure that around. Honestly, this deck isn't super well teched against V. If you really wanted, you know, one easy way to beat a V deck, you could sub out Madoc and these bombs and just put in Morkvarg, Heart of Terror if that's really what you're concerned about. And you'll get your value there. Trophy Catch does force things to the right row, but I don't love it here. Vader Maker is kind of sad. I was hoping to get Skellige Storm. But we miss it on both decks for some reason. On both games for some reason. Now I really want to try to like push him onto two different rows if possible. Just so we make sure to get the most value out of the Vader Maker, or out of the bro, out of Madoc. But you just get his deck. It doesn't play hyper thin by any means, but it does get some tutors out. Does get some value that way. Alright, I wish we had a better way of getting at this lizard, but we really don't. So we're just going to kill off one of these larvas. Now, if you really wanted to, like if I really wanted to play for luck here, I could ping this lizard and then drop the Madoc and pray all 3 damage pings hit this lizard. It's possible. There's a greater than 0% chance that that would happen. It's just not a good chance. Kind of wish we could have got that to the other row, but this works. I can kill this lizard, which is a little tempting if I'm being honest. Remember this is summoned, so you definitely don't want to play it on Hemdall, just dry. And I'm saving the Madoc here because I want to extend it with Vader Maker. And I'm not concerned about it because it's a V deck, so it doesn't have room to include removal. Now Red Haze is not a duel, it's just going to play the biggest card and then smack itself against it. So we're just going to be a little patient here. We're not in any rush. We're just going to increase that. There's a better than 0% chance we get Red Haze down and then it goes to the other row. That would be cool. We did almost see it happen here though. 2 of the 3 ping this lizard. We do need to get Red Haze out next turn. But I really want those unit values to go as high as humanly possible. Probably should have killed this lizard. But, you know, only so many options. This is not a bad choice. So beast represents continued value, so we're just going to drop red haze. And you place the one you want to do the damage, and then you proc it. This is going to be a V-tutor almost certainly. I'm not going to lie here, friends. This is actually closer than I thought it would be. I know it doesn't look great at all. And I should have thought about this so we have last say. So Madoc actually does us absolutely no good here. These still represent value. So I think this is probably a smart choice. Does increase the point value there. Morgfarg Heart of Terror would be a win here. So again, if that's something you care about. Oh, that's so stupid. Don't do that. So see, I'm gonna die. The proc's no damage. We get some value on the dagger there, but not great. Honestly, I love the spiciness of this deck, but if I was to make it kind of more palatable, I think I'd probably come in here, I'd swap out Shoop, Stay Off, I'd put in Morgfarg Heart of Terror, I'd probably even take out Hemdahl, if I'm being honest, and go for some tutor cards. Arnagod would actually be kind of nasty in this deck, just because you have so much pressure. Yeah, Chairman Wu pipes in. Don't use Madoc like that. You'll find yourself making poor choices with Madoc. I'm not gonna lie to you. He takes a little bit of getting used to. And I don't know that he's worth having, but he is a fun, spicy new card that makes things different. Lockdown is kind of a crappy matchup for us because this is an expensive leader. He'll get good synergy with the Vader Maker. Vadermaker, however you want to call him. So yeah, that can suck. Also, the lock onto Madoc is nasty. Not a ton you can do about it. Notice that Moondust is purifying damage unit, so you could like force the lock onto something and then use Moondust to purify your own unit. If you like to be spicy, it's one way to do it. So I don't love this play for a couple reasons. Number one, I know exactly what your deck is, and number two, it just feeds me the Madoc. So a little bit weird there. I don't like that play from the opponent, but we are where we are. And now mine is gone. Jeez, 2 northern winds. Well, that's our whole game strategy there, folks. Not really, but kind of. Here, we're gonna go for this, just so. Yep, we get it. So I'm just here trying to increase the value on Gutting Slash. We're playing on red, so as long as I can like conceivably hang in this, I want to. Now, locking this at 4 is like an excellent play because it traps it at the 4 value, stops the damage procs. It also prevents the transformation. Moondust works, but I think if they had a lock, that would have been better. So I love to party, so we're gonna party this game. So this is an excellent way to catch up when you're like down by a lot. Okay, so we took 2, which means the opponent will take 11. But we still go up. Shoot mage is always just like a freaking joke, man. But it's fun. It's probably one of the more fun ones. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what the thought was there. So happy to throw away Vader Makar here. Pass like that though tells me the opponent doesn't have anything they like. So we're still missing like all of our good stuff. Red Haze is not valuable to us anymore. Haymaker Protector is not valuable to us anymore. Alright, so we're just gonna play out Invader here. And since this is a lockdown deck, I am with lots of bombs. I'm expecting this to be kind of like a bomb lock. Okay, maybe not. I was expecting it to be like a ball deck. This is fantastic. I'm a happy man. Don't ever want to use Tibor against Skellige in my experience. Alright, so we do take the lock on these raiders. That's fine. Here we're just pushing out, flushing out all the opponent's cards. It's not a Siri Nova deck because even though this still shows T-Bar, because Madoc is 5. This is poor choice. This would have been more value here. Just go for value under the T-Bar. And Nivelin's also not super helpful here. This Ivar play I really like. Since this is kind of just a wash, I'm just gonna play this out. Either way, I go down by card, but I really want to force out all the synergy value the opponent might have here. And then just pray we get like Dagger and Hemdall. Kingslayer's awkward here. Looking for a Madoc typically, but I think they probably would have been happier on to my Covenant of Steel. Alright, we can get Greatsword with Sigdrifa's right, so that's actually not bad for us. Put Red Haze back. Alright, this is honestly as good as it gets for us. Would I rather have seen Dagger? Yes. But there's just too much at risk here otherwise. I don't want this card, I don't want this card, I don't want this card, I don't want this card. So I'd be looking for 2 out of 6. Not worth it for me, so I'm just going to finish up redraws. And we'll just take the greatsword with Sigurdriffas. Who knows what Cantarella's gonna give? We had some cool stuff. Ravager is not great here, especially if they wanted to replay the Cantarella. I'll eat your heart. I mean, look, Yen's Invo is always possible, so you just kind of have to pick your poison on what's worse. Greatsword would be worse for me, I think. Although Covenant of Steel does play for an immediate 7 points. Greatsword gives the upside of a massive play. So that's typically what you want to see Moondust used on. And just because of Treason and Red Haze, we're going to play him to the other row. Covenant of Steel gets boosted now. I wish he was going to like melee so I could get maximum value. But Wild Boar works for us. We'll take the Hemdall here. We'll put it to ranged. So that's unfortunate. See, we wanted it to hit one of each. That way we get more value out of Wild Boar. But we'll still get some really good value out of Wild Boar. Wild Boar right now finding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points. So this is why we played around that. So had those each taken damage, we would have done an additional 2 points of damage. So unfortunate that we missed that one, but I think we left ourselves in as good a position as we could. We pull out the win by 2 points. So there you see it. Skellige is cool if you do weird stuff still. Have fun. Do some fun stuff in the game. But look, I think this is honestly one of the more fun decks I've played with in a long time. Very different, super spice. 2-0'd Lippy and took Lockdown down to the wire. So anyway, let me know what you guys think about it. Until next time though, good luck on the path. Get out there and keep on gwenting. Bye for now.